New now from our state capitol newsroom. As Tennessee wrestles with COVID-19 and new variant cases, more people are catching the virus ahead of the upcoming holidays. News 2's Gerald Harris spoke with former Republican Senate Majority Leader and Nashville heart surgeon Dr. Bill Frist, who says leadership matters when it comes to fighting this virus.
Probably a B.
Dr. Bill Frist gives Tennessee a passing grade so far in the state's COVID response.
It's a rural state. Lots of different opinions. It's a red state, and red states have tended not to be as aggressive in terms of vaccination.
But Frist, a former Republican senator and majority leader, says more can be done, from reducing health disparities.
If you happen to be a person of color or a person in a vulnerable population, your chance of dying from, for example, a virus or a pandemic is much higher.
To shoring up investments in public health.
That's science. These viruses are smarter than us, and they're changing constantly, and they're going to come again.
Frist, who was part of the Nashville COVID-19 response review to examine the impact of COVID-19 and issue recommendation, says leadership will be key in the success of fighting back against COVID.
Where we had a president of the United States saying one thing, typically or often inconsistent with science. We had the science side by side saying something quite different. And yes, it changed over time because science changes over time. But that message was very different what the state level, what our state legislature was saying and what the governor was saying. And then that's very different than what local communities were saying.
With just 50% of Tennesseans vaccinated, near the bottom of all states, Frist says consistent communication of trusted leaders should be a priority.
And that inconsistency of communications, especially in times of crisis, leads to hesitancy, to distrust, to locking down, to say, no, I don't want a vaccine, or no, I'm not going to listen, or to go and listen a little bit more to these misinformation sources. So that needs to be addressed.
In Nashville, I'm Gerald Harris, News 2.
More than 17,600 Tennesseans have died so far from COVID-19 complications.